I came back to this spot from the first wild slime mold hunting video. This week it rained quite a bit. Everything is a lot wetter, but it's also colder. It's about 5 degrees Celsius right now. I don't know, is that like 40 Fahrenheit for Americans, I think? I'm not super sure. Anyway, I came here, and as you recall, if you watched the first video, in all these decaying logs, I basically found nothing. Like, not some mushrooms, some funguses, but like no slime molds. I came here, I mean, just to check because it's wetter, and I thought, maybe if it's wetter, I might have a bit more luck. But yeah, in just under 1 minute of looking, I already found a new species. So here you can see it. And now this is still my phone because I don't have my equipment yet. It's currently Saturday, and on Sunday I should have my tripod and camera. So hopefully then the quality will be a bit better. So just hang on with me. But yeah, check this out. I found them growing on this bark on top of this leaf. You see some of the spore print. It was actually down here below the logs in the shade. So I guess they don't like the sun. So checking them in the shadiest spots are probably the best idea, close to the ground. But yeah, pretty cool. I'm pretty sure it's a new species. Of course, to identify the species, I need to look in the microscope. But yeah, already one find. I also looked a bit more through the logs, and I found 2 additional species. One I'm pretty sure is a slime mold, the other one I'm not super sure, but I'm not like last time where I thought that was it, but it was actually a fungus. So yeah, let's check those out. So now looking back at the back of the pile, this was actually the spot where the pseudoscorpion was, so pretty cool. This is where it was. But the thing I found was actually over here. You can see it's like a lot of little dots, like orange dots, and let me zoom in a little bit. It's like balls, like orange balls, spheres, and when they pop they release like this yellow spores. So I'm pretty sure this is also a slime mold. Let me zoom in a little bit more. See, pretty cool. And it's definitely a different species than the one I showed you before, and definitely different from the one I got last time. So yeah, that's the 3rd species until now. 3rd species. There's quite a lot of it. You can see all of this. It's a large mass, as you can see. Yeah, a wetter weather is definitely paying off. And I also found a 3rd one that I'm not so sure if it's a different species, but it's over there. And so this one, just to kind of make the point, is growing on just bark. You see, it's going directly on the bark. This is my finger, so very tiny. And the other one that I found until now is I also found these weird things, but I'm pretty sure these are mushrooms, I think. But they're also pretty strange. It's like flames, like gummy flames coming out of the trunk, which is pretty nice. Isn't that nice? I think it's pretty nice. But anyway, on this cool lichen, I saw some info that lichens are really good to find slime molds, and I actually found one. So see, it's a big mess. It's a strange lichen. I think it's a lichen. It's strange. I've never seen this one. It's probably different because it's wet, but it has a very nice texture. Anyway, I think, yeah, it's here. So this is my hand. This is a bit to the side, and check out. So the sun is over there, So the sun goes like that right now because it's beginning of March, so it's still quite low. This goes like this, and so this part is pretty much always dark around here. This is always shade, more or less. Maybe it's kind of hard to see, but it's true because you see the log. So it goes like this. So this is kind of more or less always in the shade most of the day, and so this is where you actually find the slime mold, which makes sense, I guess. So if you want to look for them, look for shady places. It's very tiny, growing on the lichen. This is my finger, so very tiny. I think this is even a different species from the one I just showed. I mean, it's also like balls, but they seem a bit more well, they're less, so maybe that's a hint that it's a different species. They're growing on a different medium, so they're growing directly on the lichen instead of just the bark, so maybe that's also an indicator of a different species. But anyway, yeah, already 3 slime molds. So this is where they're growing, here on this lichen. I think I'm going to collect them and the lichen too. Best case scenario, I already found 3 new species of slime mold with just this pile, and it's still quite early in the day. Still have a few hours of sunlight, so yeah, pretty cool. So I'm just gonna collect them and look for some more. So see you guys. I think I found another species, but it's something different, and it has spores that I can know. Maybe it's kind of hard to see. You see this? I already put it in a bag, but this has like a bunch of black spores. It looks kind of destroyed because I discovered it by grabbing a stick and looking at my hand, like completely dust with black dust. So I don't know if this is a slime mold. The structure is kind of destroyed. It does appear to be so, but yeah, I guess we'll have to check the spores and see it. But if it is a slime mold, it's definitely a different species. I think I'm gonna check a few more spots. I need to move a little bit. My hands are freezing. So yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm in a different part of the forest now, so I was going through this trail and I found these few logs that are kind of decayed. I started looking for some slime molds here. I turned this log around because I wasn't seeing many things, but it is pretty degraded, I guess. I think I found one slime mold. Check it out. I'm just gonna show you. It's super cool. It literally looks like a cotton candy that you buy like on a carnival or something like that. Let me zoom in a little bit. Oh, too much. Whoa, so cool. And this was upside down, so it was completely, I guess, underground, so in the middle of the dirt and leaf litter. Here it is. They look very cute. And there's a few more here, you see? So, just so you know the size. So this is my finger. So these are quite large ones. They're similar, maybe slightly larger than the ones from the first episode. You know, the Amitrichia clavata. These ones are slightly bigger, but it might still be the same species. I'm not super sure. Again, I have to check on the microscope. But yeah, I think they look super cool. Yeah, this zoom sucks. Sorry about this. More slime molds there. Kind of looks like the same species. It's probably also a Trichia or a Hemitrichia, just a different species, perhaps. Bingo! Oh, there's even... This log is full of stuff. I was checking this slime mold, this orange slime mold, and now I realized, I don't know, this might be mushrooms, I'm not sure. But it could also be a slime mold. Whoa, and it's slightly red. Whoa. Finally, this is my first time actually finding a Plasmodium. So still in the slime mold phase of the life cycle. So, very nice. And that's super red. I'm definitely gonna collect this one. This one, I can already make a video on it. Cool. Cool. And I know this is not the same species as the other one, because I think those ones have a white Plasmodium. This is clearly like dark orange with a little bit of red. So yeah, this is something different, guys. Cool. Okay, I'm gonna collect everything now and maybe check a little bit more since this has so much stuff. I'm not super sure what this is, but I've removed a chunk, you know, by pulling on it, of the rotting log, and it's like super blue. I don't know what this is. You see, it's like inside the log. I don't know if this is some type of paint, but it's inside the wood fibers. It's weird. I might collect some and also check it on the microscope. That might be fun. So yeah, a lot of weird finds today. But I think that's enough. I'm cold. It's getting dark. It's getting colder. Yeah, and I think I have around like 7 or 8 slime molds already. Last episode was super boring compared to this one in terms of slime molds. But yeah, so see ya. Okay, I think I'm just gonna drop it in the agar and leave it. So I'm back home, and I have some of the samples from the first site here. So the first thing I'm gonna do is just to get them out, and see if they handled the transportation well. I don't really think they did, but we'll see how we can save them. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Here I have the material we collected from the first site, so I'm gonna start there. It looks like it handled the transport pretty well, so we'll see how that went. I've realized that one of the slime molds has changed color, so maybe it was still maturing. We'll see if we still got something viable. But yeah, so I'm gonna take them out, start mounting them on slides, and yeah, starting the identification. So we'll see. So as you remember, this was the first one we collected. Let's see if it zooms well. Hopefully it's focusing well. Okay, like that. you might be thinking, this looks pretty much the same, more or less, to the previous one we looked at. And I would say, I guess so. Yeah, it does look similar. But is it though? So if we look at these edges, if we go into a higher magnification, you might be starting to see some differences, maybe in the tips. They're called elaters and they're part of the capillitum, which is like a very important identification feature of slime molds. And you see, just from this magnification, the tips, you can see they're pointed. I might show some images of the last species that we saw, in the last video, just to compare. But if you remember, they were blunted, so rounded at the tip. These ones are clearly like pointy tips, and this is already a huge difference. But it gets even weirder. So if we zoom in a little bit more, so this is the 40x objective. Okay, let's look a little bit closer. So again, you see the tips, they're like, they end on like a pointed tip. This one even has a little hook, so clearly different. And if you look at the spirals, they're a lot denser. So compared to the previous ones, those ones were seemed a lot more orderly, spaced, and not as compacted. This one seems like double the compaction, the previous ones. And also, it's kind of hard to see. This is a very high magnification, and yeah, I'm using a 25x eyepiece, so we're getting a lot of aberration on the image, but I think you can see that on the edges of some of these fibers, there's like little spines. So there's another taxonomically relevant thing. There's spines on them, you see? Almost like thorns. Like looking at this one at the top, I think you can see the spines, right? Finally, the other obvious characteristic is the spores themselves. They look, I would say, slightly larger, but if you look at the structure, so the other ones looked slightly granular. These ones are very granular. You see the amount of like spikes and things on the surface. It's even like slightly colored. When I move in and out of focus, you can kind of see the texture. It's very, very different. So this is very promising. I think this should be enough to identify. I'm pretty confident that this is Oligonema favogenium, and that's really exciting because at least looking at the iNaturalist observations, this is the first observation of this species in my region. Anyway, let's go to the next species. This is actually the next day, because this was probably the hardest species to identify. I finally got it, I think. So I think this species is Pericaena corticalis. The way I identified it, to be honest, the microscopic view doesn't have that many features. But with the microscopic view, the clustering and everything, it seems that it's probably this species. Moreover, the habitat where it was found pretty much checks out for the species. If we zoom in on the spores, okay, I think you can kind of see. You see the surface; it's slightly rugged, almost like a golf ball, actually, which is consistent with this species. So that's something. Not a lot of things going on in the microscopic view, but yeah. But yeah, this species gave me quite a bit of trouble to figure out, and yeah, let's just move on to the next one, maybe something a bit more interesting in a microscope. So, just on the lower magnification, I can already see it's quite different. Tons of spores. and a lot of the threads or the capillum. Yeah, let's see how they look a bit more up close. They look rather differently from the other ones. These ones look thin, almost synthetic fibers. They're very smooth. Oh, and the spores are super different. They look like eggs. Like if you boiled an egg and you cut it in half, that's kind of what it looks like. Okay. Wow. Oh wait, they have texture. They're not smooth. Okay. They do look like ropes. But I guess it's like a tighter rope. It's smaller. But I guess I'm not super sure if they're completely matured, since there was a color change from when I got them and now. So maybe I like disturbed the maturing process, so not super sure. So this is like the skin where the spores were, so the smooth surface that you can see in the photos. I think this is called a peridium. I think it's the correct term, the peridium. It does appear to be Trichia contorta. From the color change, the loose tips, and also or tends to sporulate in autumn and winter. So this is exactly the time period for this species. So yeah, I think I'm pretty confident in this identification. I tried to dissect as much as possible from the pile of dust, and it was kind of silvery, like the cap of the little balls. And I think the species is Badamia follicula, and I think that is based on the spores. They don't seem to be clustered, they seem to be separate. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Another characteristic from this species, Badamia follicula, is the spores are slightly have little spikes, very very tiny spikes, and you can see the surface. It has like dots on them. Those are the spikes. They're very very tiny. I don't know how well you can see. Yeah, it's very very tiny rugosity to them. But yeah, this and the fact that I found it on a twig kind of makes me feel like it's this species, because when I looked at where it occurs, it didn't say in logs and stuff. It said it appears on like twigs and branches. So yeah, exactly where I found it. So yeah, I think this is the species. Anyway, I have a lot of spores. I have a lot of black dust, so I guess I can germinate it, try to make a plasmodium. And since it's Badamia, the plasmodium might be quite cool to see actually, because Badamia is a common slime mold that you can buy, kind of like Physarum, which I think it's also part of the Badamia genus right now, but I'm not super sure about the taxonomy. So this should be a pretty cool species to try to make a plasmodium, to grow it, and after that I can just try to sporulate it and actually confirm the species. But for now I think it's Badamia follicula. I think I'm expecting this to be some type of Trichia or Trichaceae, so the threads are not surprising. Yeah, so to identify it, the most important things to check are the characteristics of the threads and the characteristics of the spores themselves. You can see how here there's like a fork. Forking is also a characteristic that is relevant for identifying the species. Oh, another fork. So the Clavata does not fork, or at least I didn't see any of that. This one also seems to have short tips. Yeah, but it's definitely forking. Let's get a closer look. Here we can see how it's bifurcating. It's forking, but the tips seems to be appear to be blunted, kind of like, you know, the other species. Another fork. So forking and blunted tips. The spores seem to be smooth with pretty much nothing going on, just little smooth balls. So smooth balls, blunted tips, and a lot of branching. I think this might be another Emitrichia. So I think this is Emitrichia caliculata. They are pretty similar in a lot of things, but this one appears to be branched, which happens with these species. Yeah, I think this might be it. Okay, guys, that's it for the video. I think it's pretty much done. I'm editing the video to maybe be around 30 minutes. I hope it's not too long, but this episode had a lot more stuff to look into. So yeah, the microscope section is a lot bigger than the previous one. Hopefully it's interesting enough. If it's not, just let me know. I decided to add a few more elements to the video in the nature part, but also in the microscope section. I tried to make it a bit more easier to follow, I guess. I hope that works out well. We found 5 new species. So from the Emitrichia clavata from the first episode, we now got 5 other species. I think I'll put like a table here just to show the species that we got already. Of course, I'm not a specialist in the identification. I'm actually quite new, but I am quite confident on them. Yeah. So besides that, I think for now I'm gonna hold on a little bit for more slime mold hunting, because already with 6 species, that gives me a lot of opportunity to maybe focus on each of those species. Some of them are quite interesting. Badamia is a very interesting genus, so the fact that we got one is pretty good. And this species in particular, it's a very winter-based species, so growing it in my refrigerator could be a very interesting video. So let me know what you think. I want to start doing some slime mold experiments, so more at-home videos, less nature related. Maybe I'll do some in April, maybe during beginning of spring and stuff. I am quite fond of plants actually, so if you would be interested to seeing that, let me know. But yeah, I might make some videos about that. But yeah, for slime molds, I'm planning on making a video focusing on slime mold aging with Physarum polycephalum. That's probably going to be a series, because it's actually what I have in mind can be a bit complicated for just one video, but we'll see. But yeah, I think that's it. Let me know what you thought of the video, if it's better or worse than the last one. I'm kind of unsure if it's interesting or if it might have been a bit too dragging, a bit boring. In any case, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for reaching until the end. I think that's it for now. So yeah, I'll see you on the next video.